Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Ashley Van Heest. I'm the Director of Scheduling and Academic Initiatives at Jackson College. I'm joined today by two colleagues, both are faculty members, Sarah Main and Angel Fonseca. We all represent co-chairs of several of the committees that we're going to be talking to you about today. So our presentation is going to discuss some what we feel are innovative changes that we've made to two of our major committees here on campus. And first, we're going to talk about our Foundation Studies Committee. Foundation Studies is an academic pathway at Jackson College that houses our developmental education courses. And for a long time, it has been the think tank on campus. The initial intentions of this committee have been really to focus on, as the name implies, the foundations that get a student started. So what did we need to do to help prepare them? What did we need to do instructionally to make sure they were successful? What are the student supports that we need to put into place to provide the best learning environment for students coming in? It's a very large committee. It's comprised of a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of campus, but it really has been the spot where if there was an idea to think of that we could bring back to Jackson College and innovate it in our own way, it was going to come to us through Foundation Studies. It's through Foundation Studies that we had guided pathways, multiple measures of assessment. It's through Foundation Studies that we did our co-rec model for all of our foundational support classes in English, in reading, and in math. Sort of about this time last year, as there was just a lot going on nationally in terms of racial injustice that was happening all across America, we knew that as an institution, we needed to make some very substantial changes to how we approached equity awareness, equity initiatives on campus. And we were a little bit perplexed on how the best way to approach that work was. But we knew that if there was a committee that could do it, it was the Foundation Studies Committee that would be able to do it and handle it. So we embarked on this process of really shifting the focus of foundation studies from foundations to intentional, equitable outcomes. And what if we were just laser focused on what a student's entire process would be? What if we could get everybody across that finish line? What would that look like, and how would we need to go across that work? So out of kind of the ashes of that fire of taking down foundation studies, we formed what is called the Committee for Equitable Outcomes. We have several co-chairs to the Committee for Equitable Outcomes. We meet once a month. And a lot of the membership is the same as those folks that were on foundation studies, but certainly we've added several new members along the way. One nice thing that we're doing, and Sarah will be able to share the goals of this committee work in just a moment, but we take each meeting and meet as a large group, but then also set aside time in each meeting for these subcommittees to work on their goals and initiatives. Sarah, can you talk about those four areas that we identified for Committee for Equitable Outcomes to focus on?
Absolutely. So throughout the course of last year, we spent quite a bit of time discerning what four areas we really wanted to make some improvements in what we offer our students to support them. The first goal that we came up with was called access. Through our access subcommittee, we're working to increase our dual enrollment, specifically, hopefully at Jackson Public Schools, and working with some improving, adding additional, and growing our articulation opportunities as well. The second subcommittee is going to be working on a goal of success, and that group is going to be working on increasing and improving our mentor programs. And mentor programs is in a couple different areas. We're going to be adult mentors mentoring students. There's going to be also students mentoring each other in our dorms. And the third group subcommittee is going to be working on completion. And that group is working mainly to participate in the equity transfer initiative that we have going with Wayne State. So we thought that was a perfect initiative we already had started, and that fit right in with our third goal. And our fourth and last goal that we have is programs. And those are academic programs that we're working on, and we're working to produce cross-disciplinary pipelines and supports for programs. So we found that there were some programs that really worked to be very creative in how they market to students, how they reach out to them, along with where our student interests are. And we're trying to take those ideas and strategies and move those along to other academic programs that are in low enrollment.
We've got a great group of people that are very motivated and excited to kind of take this shift in direction, again, from the foundational supports to kind of applying that as a thought process to all of the aspects of a student's experience with Jackson College. So we are very excited about that work. The next committee that we are going to share an innovative change with you on is our Guided Pathways Committee. Now, as a lot of folks did when they embarked on Guided Pathways, we did that in a very traditional sense, which commonly means having a really big committee with everybody, kind of everybody on campus that would maybe have a hand in something like Guided Pathways. We did that. They all were there and they all were invited to the meetings. And that was a very, very necessary thing to do at first. When we first were rolling out Guided Pathways, it required a lot of hands and a lot of bodies to work on it. Some of the things, though, that we've seen that just kind of perpetually plague us with Guided Pathways then are some of our ideas. Our program maps, for example, still were very program centric rather than pathway centric. And for us, a lot of folks talk about institutionalizing Guided Pathways. Our process for doing that wasn't evident. It wasn't evident even to us who were really kind of full throttle into the work. It wasn't a very intuitive thing for anyone to come across. And we were really, really sort of struggling. COVID-19, as it has impacted, so many different areas of so many different campuses. For us, what it signaled to us was that the way Guided Pathways was working wasn't working quickly enough. That the way that system was built didn't support us being able to move quickly. And it wasn't so embedded, or as I said, so intuitive into our process that to have continuous improvement wasn't something that we were coming across in a very clean way. We also had some leadership changes. We had a couple of folks that were just name stays for us in Guided Pathways work, and in truth, the foundation studies work as well. They retired, and that was great, but it became evident that we needed to change our structure. If we were really going to keep moving forward with Guided Pathways, we were going to have to make a few changes to how we were doing that. Angel, can you share sort of that recurring thought process issue that we came across in terms of the mapping, and then how that relates to scheduling and the advising process?
What we found was that with faculty, when the initiative first was launched, and we bought into this, we need this whole map done for our program. It was really a kind of a silo situation where this is my program, these are the sequencing of the courses that my students need. But if you're in charge of more than one program or 5 programs, like some of us are, you really it's a tedious process to go through to make sure that your programs match. But to go at the 30,000-foot view was more of a challenge. And so then that also complicated things for our advisors, where we wanted them to be able to provide some guidance to students about when they should take the course. But, because we had written it in such a way that they maybe competed with each other, they could only give out the information that they had. So that was that step. So then that resulted this perpetual problem of having courses that would be suffering from low enrollment, which we thought at the onset, by establishing the pathways, we would avoid that problem because we're funneling students in to the courses at the time they need it. Yet because there was just so many pathways that really weren't coinciding with each other, we would still suffer with low enrollment. And so, of course, would get canceled. It would mess up the student schedule for their whole educational journey. It would mess up the pathway for that particular program. It would mess up perhaps faculty load or adjuncts we had on staff had prepped for the course. I mean, it just kind of caused some fires that needed to be put out along the way continuously.
Yeah, good. It just kept getting bigger and bigger of an issue the more we unpacked with it. And so the next challenge then was, well, how do we fix this? Is there a way to fix this within our current committee structure? Is there a way to be nimble enough to do that and how do we make the most impactful change? So we sort of developed this idea that was it seemed a little far-fetched at the time. Again, going back to the idea of this very large, probably 50-person plus committee, it's hard for 50 plus people to be nimble when approached with a problem that is like this. So what we're doing now with Guided Pathways, our Guided Pathways committee is 3 people. It's Angel, myself, and then we roped in our director of institutional research and effectiveness. And we move like a unit from problem to problem. And so we have a couple different focus areas, new programs, new courses, and map sequence changes. Those are all areas where we really were able to identify that this pathways process is not so embedded that it's easy to incorporate it into this process. So we are inviting groups into us as ad hoc members of Guided Pathways. For example, we have a brand new public administration and management program. So we worked with that faculty member. For that amount of time, we were working with him. He was an ad hoc member of Guided Pathways, sorted out his problem. He was on his way, and we brought the next person in. And so what it's allowed us to do is just really be workhorses for this work, that's precisely what we need, is we just have needed someone to sort of map out the process like that. We have a couple map examples. Angel had mentioned spots where people didn't know they were competing with themselves, even much less with other programs of study in their pathway.
And so we developed a database, really, that allows us to see all of the maps kind of together. So first, we needed to remind faculty, all of us, that since the time we had done the one and done program maps, we had changed as a college and had adopted a 7-week schedule. So on top of needing to separate our courses from a fall and a winter, we needed a fall first 7, fall second 7. So in this database, we allow them to present their program map to us in an Excel format, and then we input it into this Excel database. And from there, I've built some buttons in where we can identify if a certain course is being requested if a certain course is being requested by any other program, and then tell us in which semester and if it's A or B of that semester. So we can get a screen that pops up that says, digital marketing, for example, which is the program that is my example, may request a program a course like CIS 138, and it may be I have it in fall B, so the second semester of fall. Then I need to check with my graphics design colleague to see when is she offering or asking for that same course to be offered to students. And so I can bring up the CIS 138 and see that they match, that we're both requesting it at the same time. And then some of us are in charge of more than one program. So what we'll find is even our own programs, it's easier kind of just to put it in there and say, show me the errors or show me where they're cross-sequenced and not in the same semester or in the same section of the semester. So there's that. Then we also have where we can see if a single course is offered by multiple programs, we can check each one of those programs and kind of dive deeper into them. And so the ad hoc position is that as we go through, before the faculty member presents that even to curriculum committee to get approved, we can let them see where other people are asking for that course, and then they can rework it and see if they can match that. If not, then it's up to them to go talk to that faculty member and say, hey, I know you're lead for such and such a course, and I could really use it better, and this time I really can't find a way to move it. Is there anything that you could do? Usually, though, it's easier to move one program, as we all know, right, and resequence that. So after we have those changes kind of discussed and made in our committee, we create a report out that we give to the faculty members. So especially if it's a new program or a program review, they can take that up the ladder to say, you know, they've talked with us, they know that it checks out, and these are the recommended changes we suggested. This was the changes they made, and it's ready to go. And it kind of fits in the entire scheduling process.
It's felt so great to finally, it feels like, arrive at this spot of having a tool and having a vehicle to use to have those kinds of sometimes hard conversations with everyone about their schedule, about their program, and how we can make sure that we're setting it up in the best way for success. But we've got really great backing from our academic leadership in terms of the importance of this process. Every new program has to meet with Guided Pathways before it can present to curriculum committee. And so it maybe took a long time to get there, but we're there, and we're quite happy with it and very excited about it. I know that was a lot of information sort of to throw at you and kind of tease you with. We would love to answer any further questions that you have. We've got all of our contact information here. So if there's more that we can do, or if you have questions or needs, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.